Stuff I like. We got to do stuff I like. And I'm running out of time. I saw Ghost Story, which is this new picture by David Lowery. What are the pictures he's done? Some Bodies, Them Saints. He did Pete's Dragon, too. He did the Pete's Dragon. That's right.
And it's from A24 is the studio.
A24 is the studio. They're the ones who did The Witch, Ex Machina, Green Room, Moonlight. This is part of this new, small, intellectual ghost story trend. The Witch, The Babadook was one. It Follows was one. Ex Machina kind of one, sort of more science fiction. Green Room, which I haven't seen, but which I heard is really tense and interesting. But Ghost Story is different. And it is Variety, the trade paper, called it intermittently successful. And I would say that that is right. There is a moment in the middle of this picture that really works. And basically what it is it's Casey. This is not giving you, this is just the premise. Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara, young lovers. He dies and he comes back as a ghost who looks like a Halloween joke. He is just a sheet with eye holes in it. That's what he is. And he follows her around. And it is a story about loss, about the meaning of life, about whether or not, has one spectacular scene with Will Oldham, who's a musician, gives a speech about how no matter how we try to be remembered, the meaninglessness, the nihilistic meaninglessness of life outstrips all our efforts. But while he's saying that, the ghost is watching him, which kind of throws the whole speech into doubt, and so it's got some really, really interesting stuff in it. It's self-indulgent, and it has a scene close to the opening where Rooney Mara eats a pie. The camera stays in one place. Did you see this, Austin?
No,
I hope you'll see it, because I'd like to know what you think. I mean, the camera stays in one place and she eats this pie for what must be 5 minutes. I seriously thought my wife was going to just get up and walk out. It was like watching paint dry, and you could have accomplished every single thing in the scene in 30 to 40 seconds. I mean, every single emotional beat, every single piece of meaning could have been. So it's kind of annoying. And I wanted to bring in, I couldn't find the clip of the guy speaking. But it did, as you know, I love ghost stories. I just cannot tell you how much I love them. And ghost stories kind of came into their own right about the turn of the last century, right around 1900, with M.R. James and people like that. Some of the great, and mostly in Britain, some of the great British ghost stories. If you've never read The Monkey's Paw, you should really read The Monkey's Paw. I'm sure you've seen the movie The Monkey's Paw. I'm sure you've seen the story embedded somewhere. But if you've never read it, you really should read it. But the ghost story is coming back, and that's a really interesting thing. A lot of times they say the ghost story is connected to World War I and all the death and people trying to deal with all the death of World War I. I don't believe that's true at all. I believe it has to do with the rise of what I've been calling scientific logic. Not the rise of science, but the rise of scientific logic. Scientism, it's sometimes called. Science has given us all the great blessings in the world, all the cures, all the technology, all the wonderful things that we have, the way we travel, all this stuff. But it has done it at a price, and the price has been that it has said to us, in order to believe in our science, you have to stop believing in anything else. You have to believe that we have this hammer, and therefore everything is a nail. And I believe that logic is collapsing, because if you follow that logic to its end, it would mean that you don't exist, essentially. It would mean that you have no free will. It would mean that you have no spirit. It would mean that all your observations are in doubt. They don't mean anything. That was basically the story that was sold to you, that your observations are not reliable, when so often your observations are reliable. And the only way you can tell they were unreliable is because often they're reliable. Otherwise, how would you know they were unreliable if they weren't so often reliable? All the logic of scientism is collapsing, and that's why I think ghost stories are making a kind of a comeback. Very recently, there have been some terrific ones. Paranormal Activity, I think, is very close to being a classic, and has this is the moment. I'll just show you this one moment from Paranormal Activity, because to me, it's one of the great things about ghost stories. I don't like horror stories. I like ghost stories because of moments like this one. What I love about this is that one line. They've laid out powder because this invisible creature keeps visiting them. And he says there's footsteps in, but there's no footsteps out. I mean, that to me is how a ghost story works. And she says, oh my God, that's all you need. That's all you need. There are footsteps in, the footsteps out. And when you first watch that movie, a chill goes up your spine when he says this. I know we're going a little long, but I kept James on because he was really interesting. Let me just play this one scene from The Ring, another of my very favorite ghost story movies that has come out recently. This is the opening sequence. It's based on a Japanese novel and then a Japanese film, but the actual American film with Naomi Watts is the best version of it that I read. I read the book, I saw the Japanese film. This is the best version of it. And so there's two teenage girls watching television, and bored out of their minds. Here it is.
You can pick something, I don't care. Any idea how many electro rays are traveling through our head every second?
I got a better one. Have you heard about this videotape that kills you when you watch it?
What kind of tape?
A tape. A regular tape. People run it, I don't know. You start to play it, and it's like somebody's nightmare. Then suddenly, this woman comes on, smiling at you, right? Seeing you through the screen. And as soon as it's over, your phone rings. Someone knows you've watched it. And what they say is, you will die in 7 days. And exactly 7 days later.
Who told you that?
Somebody from Riviera.
Who told you?
What's your problem?
I've watched it.
I love this stuff. You don't have to show anything. Nothing has to jump out of you. Nobody has to bleed. You tell a ghost story, and she says, I'm in it. I watched that tape. I am in that ghost story. And the thing works every step of the way, the rest of the movie. It's really a terrifying film, and yet there's not a lot of gore, not a lot of blood in it, not even a lot of boost scares, which I find very cheap. One of the reasons I hate horror movies is I hate things jumping out at me. All right, we got to go. Good show. I hope it came over. I hope our tech worked. All right. Austin. 3 cheers for Austin. If you subscribe, first of all, the mailbag is tomorrow. So get in your questions. Yes, we will answer your questions. Answers are guaranteed correct. They will change your life occasionally for the better. And if you subscribe, you can not only be part of the mailbag, but if you subscribe for a year for about $100, you get this cup out of which you may drink leftist tears. I have been drinking them throughout the program. Jess heats them up for me, and I get free hot leftist tears. It's so good. I'm Andrew Klavan. This is the Andrew Klavan Show. We will be back again tomorrow.